So, fantasy book cover. Um, I always liked fantasy book covers. I don't know why I'm wearing these. I always liked the relationships between the man and the woman on the cover, or the woman and what she's doing or gotten herself into. And because I kind of have like a moral compass of righteousness, I kind of always compare what's happening against it. So God has a lot of mercy on people who have never known him or haven't bonded with him. But when you have, there's consequences, and that's what a lot of the Bible is. And so in that spirit, what would happen if a woman in her youth was pure maiden, and then she turned towards not witchcraft, but something like some sort of fantasy type witchcraft where she makes her own soul of a husband, and just like the Book of Lamentations, what would happen if a good woman got into something bad and then really went with it away from what was good and pure? And so I came up with a hypothetical story instead of like a Song of Solomon erotic tale of two lovers coming together. What would happen if a corrupt witch of a woman made a soul for a body? What would happen then? So essentially you'd have kind of like a golem. You'd have like an artificial creation. So she makes herself her own kind of Frankenstein's monster, which I believe in the book was supposed to be beautiful. Like he had the body of a Roman god, I think in the book is how he's described. So I had this model from Norway. It was just beautiful. He was really athletic and took really good care of himself. I think he was a vegan. And the model thought he was pretty, and that she wanted to do a photo shoot with him, and he was cool with it. So in this fantasy book cover series, I tell a story. And so if you were to make your own soul, it wouldn't be a good soul. It would just be a kind of like an animation. You'd just have made yourself something that isn't true, and eventually that'll go bad. Hang on. So I wrote a story based on that. So let's see, what's the first one? Transparent men. So yeah, she's got the long white nails, looking pretty normal. I think she's got like a robe on. My problem with men, I can see through them. So we're establishing that she feels life is vain. I've met hyper intelligent women with hyper gifts, like kind of like a triple or a, what's 5, like a pentablessing. And because their gift is so pronounced, they think that everything else is shallow. And that's a problem when you've turned away. So people when they're young will turn towards God, and people when they're older will turn away, as if God was never there and never mattered. But the problem is, since you've bound yourself to Christianity, just because you're turning away doesn't mean the rules still don't apply to you. If you have a dad, a loving and caring and good and compassionate father, just because you turn 16 and you want to do things different doesn't mean there's still certain household rules that apply to you. And I'm not saying all household rules are good, but let's assume you live in a house like the kingdom of heaven where all household rules are good. And just because you turn 16 and you want a little more authority of your life doesn't mean there still aren't consequences. So, first one, transparent men. My problem with men, I can see through them.